All right, we're back.
Hello, I'm Kara.
I'm Chris today. I think
It's already been a day. Hi.
Hi. I'm Kara.
I'm Chris.
And we're the
Midnight Babes.
And we're back.
We're back again.
With a movie.
Yes.
The Oogie Boogies.
The Oogie Bugs.
Which is why we're giggling, because I keep calling it the Oogie Boogeyman.
The Oogie Boogeyman.
But we watched the Boogeyman,
So
2023.
Yep.
It's now on Hulu.
Yep.
I have nothing but great things
It
to
was
say
so
about
good.
this.
Like it's so hard to find. I was about to say inventive, and that is not the right word.
But like,
A new imaging or whatever.
yes, or a new play
Yes.
on a certain type of movie.
Yeah.
We've had multiple Boogeyman movies.
Yeah.
Even if they're not called Boogeyman, there's a Boogeyman.
Yeah,
Whether it's like a killer, whether it is something paranormal, this was just a different take.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
Yep.
The cast was wonderful.
Yes.
Actually, let me pull up the cast here because
One of the main characters was in Yellow Jackets.
yes, it was
my goodness.
the younger version of the crazy one. What's her What's her name? Oh, it's Sophie Thatcher is her name. Her actual name, but she plays in Yellow Jackets.
I'm blinking on her.
As Natalie. I was like, gosh, I can picture her as the adult and as the child. I'm like,
Yes.
what is her name? Also, we should be getting a new season of that soon.
Yeah, I still need to finish 2 more episodes. I've been really bad. I got you.
I'll rewatch with you.
Yeah, I need to finish the 2 last episodes of Yellow Jackets. I got so sidetracked. But it's a great cast. I love Vivian, who plays Sawyer, her little sister.
Yes. Chris Messina,
yes.
the dad.
David's in it. Hello,
I was
David.
gonna say your man is in it.
David's great. Played
Lester. It was a great cast. I mean, Lisa Gay Hamilton's in it. Leanne Ross. I mean, the cast was great.
Really
Almost every character I saw, I was like, oh, I've seen them in
So-and-so, yeah.
or I know them from somewhere, and I like that.
This is as far as the Boogeyman goes, or any monster supernatural where they're coming out of a closet, they are climbing on the walls, things like that. I feel like the Boogeyman did such a great job of how usually it's a slow opening and creaky. No, this one was like
in your face. It was in your face.
I'm crawl across this floor. Fuck you! And I was like, Jesus.
This had a great flow.
Yes.
Jump scenes to the point where I screamed and jumped.
Yeah.
Not just like. I mean, I'm talking like my dogs were like, "Oh my god, is she okay?"
Yep. And it's the whole, and also one thing that I know we both don't like: open closets. Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Never
of open
a fan.
Closets, cracked.
Yep.
Cracked doors, cracked closets.
And when it's dark, and they take a little nightlight, or in this case, it was the moon sphere,
globe,
globe, and rolling it to another part that's dark. No,
she had me triggered. Every time that little girl, because she's terrified of the dark, and I guess before we get into this review, I want to talk about me for a second, because this maybe will make you understand how I feel about the movie. I grew up with the absolute fear of the dark. I slept with my night lights on, so when I'm watching this girl sleep with 5 lights on, and
relatable,
holding a globe. And still crying to her dad that she's afraid of the dark and sleeping in her sister's room. I'm like, I've done every single one of those things. Yeah. I had night terrors as a child where I thought I saw things. Yeah. I'm that kid and that adult that still in the middle of the night, I leap from the end of my bed when I have to go potty and I jump back in, right? I told Christina, if I get in my bed and the closet's
You're
cracked,
nope.
I'm from as far away, like pushing it close. No. So this really like had a little like, I feel like I reacted much differently to this movie than you did because of that like fear that I've always struggled with.
I mean, like, I've had a fear of the dark. But me being me, I almost like embraced it.
Yeah, you were more like what's in the dark.
What's in the dark.
And I'm like, I don't want to know.
It's because like I've seen things. Like supernatural, like paranormal, I should say. It's like I've seen things. Yeah. I've seen ghosts. I've seen spirits. Whatever you want to call them. I know things are there. And you can believe me or not. I don't know, fucking whatever. This is my experience. Honestly, like I've got to that point.
We've both seen things, and I think we both believe in them. And it's just how different we are in our approach. You are like, I want to know everything and all of it.
Now, don't get me wrong. I get scared and I get spooked, or I'm like, okay, if I just don't move. Nothing can get me. But also having kids, it's like, have you had that experience where he comes up like you're dead asleep and then he's just there
and you're like,
I was like, the first time
I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah, I had to like, I was happy. I like sleep with my hands in a weird position anyway, and they were like covered. So because usually I'm a hitter. I'm a hitter, and I'm like, oh, I would have knocked my kid out. Oh my god. So and I've had to get up because my son is now sleep talking. And so
he's got a lot to say.
I'll wake up and I'm like, who the fuck is talking? Like, oh God.
You're like, what the fuck is happening?
And like I have to get up to get him a drink of water or something, and I don't turn on the lights.
Yeah.
So it's definitely is different.
And see, we keep night lights on in the house. Like I don't have to turn anything on because everything's lit throughout the house.
Now, if I watch a movie that really creeps me the fuck out,
I started this movie in the dark. Yeah. I started that way. We did not finish that way. I had the lights dimmed, right? So it's still a spooky movie, but
you're like, I need some light.
Dude, I was at the point, like, do I take a Xanax? And then I was like, well, no, because that takes the, like, adrenaline out of the movie, right? But I was that, like...
close.
I was that, like, tripped out by this movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
Plot, as quoted from whatever on the interwebs. High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the recent death of their mother. They are not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist, who's dealing with his own intense pain. Mm-hmm. When a desperate patient, very desperate, unexpectedly shows up to their house seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims.
Yep.
Which they actually did a pretty good job, like, grabbing the plot of the movie in that one. Sometimes they're hit or miss.
Well, and I would say the one thing I would change in that is that he did not leave anything. Sawyer was seeing and, like, feeling these things prior to Lester being there.
Yes, but however, I do wonder if Lester ended his, like, torture and it found like, a new home, if you will, to feed off of. Because
they said it does kind of, like, pass through and it's off of your grief.
And they are grieving. Their mother is dead. Will, the dad, is a therapist, but is, like, totally ignoring his daughter's issues and their
because he's
trauma.
Just dealing with his.
And I had, like, a big issue with that. That, like, really bothered me.
Yeah.
But
it was the older sibling having to take care of both her father and the younger sibling. And that younger sibling, can I just say,
Sawyer's a little badass. Damn,
and she went through some shit. I think more than the father, more than Sophie.
Yeah.
Because this little girl was getting tossed.
She
I felt so
emotionally,
bad.
mentally, physically, spiritually, been there, done that. This girl is
poor little girl.
Checked for life.
Yep.
They opened it really well.
Yes.
It was not a slow movie. I mean, we open and we see, like, hear a baby, like, crying in the crib and the fucking closet door opens.
And the voice.
Yeah, and
I am your dad.
And it was definitely not your dad. And then it appears that the baby is dead. Like, we don't necessarily see that, but we are alluded to, like, a blood splash and some sound. Again, thank you for not showing us that, but thank you for letting us know what happened. So I was kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to
right off the bat
start the movie. So the intro scene, I thought was pretty oogie boogie. I was like, not a fan already.
Yeah.
But also intrigued.
Yes.
We kind of, like, hear about the funeral. And they're pretty quick into getting into it. Mm-hmm. Like, we see that Will's, doing in-home therapy, I also am just like, who the fuck does therapy at their house where psychos can come find you? Yeah. Thank you to all therapists that do therapy in home. We understand you may not want to like be under a corporate entity or in an office. Yeah. But like just make sure you're safe maybe. Because this like this caused like a lot of questions for me. I was like, do you only see a specific type of patient? Yeah. Like why would you allow this? Because Lester is a walk-in and he's like, I need to see you. Yeah, I read about your wife in the newspaper. And then he's like, you may have read about me in the newspaper. They said I killed my whole family, but there's no, like, evidence. And that's when things, like, at that point, I'm like, get the fuck out, Lester.
Yeah, well, and that's how always he's like, I need to go and
make a call. Right, and he does. He makes a call. He's like, I got somebody here.
Like, I kind of need somebody here, blah, blah, blah.
And then we hear a commotion. Yeah. And, like, what's, like, the mom's art studio, or would have been, maybe. And I'm over here wondering, like, is Lester, like, killing himself? Did he, like, trash the mom's studio? Yeah. Was there a fight? Like, is Lester possessed by this thing? And he, like, offed himself? Like, because next thing you know, Will, the therapist, is running up there, and Lester's hanging from the closet. Yeah. And he's dead. Yeah. So I'm like... What happened? Like, did Lester have a psychotic break?
Yeah, because, like, you hear a commotion. You're like, is he just doing it? But to me, I was like, no, he's being plagued by the boogeyman. And so that boogeyman is getting him. Because it doesn't matter where the fuck you are.
It doesn't matter if you're at home. If you're suffering, it is feeding.
And that's how, Lester was feeling, because he just wants help. He's like, I know you're going through, like, kind of the same thing. Like, your family member, yada, yada. But yeah.
It did make me wonder if he knew, because he was like, I read about your wife in the paper, if he knew what he was doing by coming there.
I know, to be like, can I just pass this on?
Mm-hmm. Which, again, makes me think, did he commit suicide, knowing that he had passed it on? But it really seemed like there was almost like a fight with the boogeyman.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's more what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
It wasn't like a make or break for me that like that. No. But it was just something thought-provoking that they added, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, because then Sophie or whatnot, is that her name Sophie in the
older girl?
Yeah. Is that her actual name, or is that the name of the character?
Sadie is her name. Sadie. Sophie is her actual name.
Yeah, okay.
Sadie is the girl in the movie.
Well, she comes home, hears the fucking racket.
Yes.
And goes into her mom's office, and then she hears Lester getting murdered.
And, like, thunking around.
Tries to open the door, and she's the one that finds him.
Yeah, so that's a little traumatized. Like, she just went back to school. Is not having a great time at school with these crazy bitches that are mean to her.
That are her friends.
Yeah, and then comes home to this. Like, girl's having a time. Yeah. And at the same time, we see Sawyer, like, hiding in bed with all of her lights on, holding her globe, like, she's afraid.
That's when, like, the door fucking swings open. She's like, what the fuck? You see it skirt. Like,
and they keep it in the shadows for, like, the beginning, like, really well. And that...
But then, this bitch, Sawyer, child, takes her moon globe and rolls it's a quick pan.
She, like, goes... under the bed, and then you get a view of her like under the bed.
I hate that. And then they rolls it,
and you see.
Yep.
No. I was like,
I did not like that at all.
Was not a fun. I even put that was one of like my biggest jump scenes
because it's I was not expecting that door to swing open as fast for her. I was like, okay, aggressive, and so
quick into the movie. Like there was really no like slow build. I mean, it was. They had the build moment, and then they were like, we're done with that.
But then it goes, because then Sadie goes out, and she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Sawyer's just there. Trying to, like, stay alive. Yeah,
trying to stay alive with her fucking light bulb. Man, I hate that bulb.
Yep, and then the dad's doing whatever the fuck he's doing.
He's dealing with his own shit. I mean, he's also, I think, having trouble understanding what's going on at home.
Doesn't believe that this is what's actually happening.
He can't even talk to his daughters about his wife's death. I mean, like, dude, you're a therapist. Like, I don't know what
Sadie
you're doing.
And him get into a fight because he starts packing up mom's studio, and Sadie's over here like, you didn't even ask me because like, we're all grieving in this. That's all of her things. you don't just get the choice of getting rid of it. Which honestly, I do. When I was watching that part, I can not like relate. Well, my mom's still here, but like if I was in that type of position, and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like I still want a say because that's my mom.
That's my mom. I still want a part of her.
Like it may have been your wife and you love her and everything, but that's my mom.
That's part of me. Yeah. So
I came from her and you, but like she birthed me,
And we kind of see that she struggles with that because she like kind of has like that seance with her mom. Like, and it's not a seance. It's more of like she's lighting this candle and is like, if you're here blow to the left.
Yeah.
And she can't get this to happen. But I will say, it is not the time to contact your dead mom. When the boogeyman is in your house and your little sister is freaking out and you're finding dead people. Well, I just think maybe not the time. We contact her later.
Yeah.
However, that did have a big play in the movie. And I love that tie-in that they did.
Yeah, then like pulling Sawyer's tooth.
Yeah.
And having that sister moment. She's like, you said you wouldn't close it. Well, Sadie didn't close it. The boogeyman like closed that door real quick.
They're having this bonding sister moment, tooth tied to
like
the
this
door.
Is what mom did for me.
Yeah, and like she's like, I'll count down to 3, and the boogeyman just shuts the door. And
like, but that comes back around because you see they're hugging or whatever. They leave, but then the string with the tooth goes towards the door and all that. And I was like, no.
And it comes back.
And it comes back because she's
smoking weed with her friends. And starts like coughing and they're all like laughing at her and she goes to the bathroom. No.
She takes one hit. So like, and she knows like that's not how you're going to be reacting.
That's not it. Like she's like coughing. Like choking and coughing. She goes to the bathroom and
like,
is pulling this string out and her sister's tooth is at the bottom of it.
That is one thing for me.
I know you don't love the.
I can't. I start like gagging a little bit because that's side note for me in my dreams. How people are like, oh, your teeth are falling out, like one of those nightmares. Mm-hmm. Mine has always been, it's something stuck in my throat, like that hair or something. Like if there's hair in my food and I have to pull it out, I cannot eat the rest of my meal. I can't do it. But also, I have this reoccurring nightmare. I don't know why it's a nightmare. But I'm chewing gum in my dream and I'm trying to spit it out and it will not come out. And I have to constantly pull these pieces of gum. Like it's just pulling, like it's a fucking thread. But it's stuck in my teeth and I cannot get it out. Like,
not a fan.
So that whole scene.
It was gross. And I don't even have that like thing, if you will. And I was still like,
can't.
There were a lot of jump scenes.
Yes.
Sadie eventually like figures out something else is going on.
Yep.
She's starting to see it. I mean, they're at therapy together, and Sawyer sees it. Sawyer pisses her pants at the therapist's office
because they're doing the whole light and it's flashing to go
on and
dimmer.
off. You have to keep her, like get her accustomed to like not being afraid of the dark. That was just fucked up for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just fucked up about that. So we've got Sadie doing research. She's researching Lester and like his family, trying to figure out what's going on. She ends up going to Lester's house and finds out that Lester's wife is still alive and she full blown fucking banana sandwich cuckoo pants. Yeah. Like, okay, first of all, like when homegirl's walking up the stairs, Sadie's walking up the stairs and all these candles are lit and melted. I'm like, how is this house not burned down? How are they still lit?
Yeah.
And then we see that his wife is still there and she's like keeping it lit because the boogeyman can only live in the dark.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay.
But wifey's over here like, I got a plan.
Yeah, like I got a plan. So,
getting that revenge. So, after losing everybody, she definitely went a little cuckoo.
She definitely did. When Sadie was creeping in the house and opened up the closet and it like took a picture of her.
Yes.
I screamed.
Yep.
I was for sure like, that's the boogeyman.
No, just a Polaroid.
Just Polaroid. No big deal.
Yeah.
Bro. Yep. No, I was not a fan of that.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I think the way like things progress, Sadie learns like pretty quickly what's going on after she sees it. She tries to talk to her dad. doesn't really go that well.
No.
She knows that, like, the boogeyman is the thing that comes after you when your parents are not watching.
Yep.
And that's what we know is the folklore.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do XYZ, the boogeyman's gonna come.
You.
I grew up hearing that too. Like, if you don't go to bed, the boogeyman will come and get you.
Yeah.
If you don't come home at this time, the boogeyman is out.
Yep.
Like, so for me, that very much, like, resonated with, like, that is what it is, right? And they played on that really well.
Yeah.
It needs the dark to stay hidden.
Yep.
And I love that it plays on grief so much that it, like, the boogeyman plays with its food before feeding it to, like,
amp it up.
Amp up that fear. Like, for example, with Sawyer, like, rolling the ball, right? And she'll see it, and then it'll, like, skitter across the room and make sounds, which, like, the sounds it's made, they were disgusting. They were creepy as hell.
Yep.
Loved it, but creepy. I mean, it, like, literally would, like, torture them before it was ready to take them.
Yep.
So it really plays on grief.
Well, there's a whole scene where Sawyer is downstairs and she's able to play her video games or whatever.
Yes.
But she's, like, in the pitch dark with just the TV and playing her games. And she's shooting. So it comes out with, like, a flash. And then, like, you lightens the room. You see Boogeyman kind of around, and then she kind of gets a hint. You know, laying down. She's like, okay, I'm going to be silent.
She pulled a Kara. If I can't see
you can't see me.
She just laid down on the couch with her controller and was like, I'm going to be dead ass quiet and still. And that's the route I probably would have gone if I could not get my legs to move.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it made me think, like, okay, is she trying to see if, like, if I lay here and I'm completely still, will it come after me?
And it didn't really.
Not really, but she ended up. What did she do? She sat back up because I walked away.
She peeked, like, over the couch, and I was
like, and then of course it's on the TV, and that's when you really get a good look at it,
and you're like, whoa, this thing is fucking creepy.
I liked how they made the boogeyman.
Yeah,
it was different.
It was good. Yeah. I liked the way he looked. It looked creepy.
Yeah.
It matched, I guess, what I would think a boogeyman looked like in my nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they just did a really good job.
Yeah.
The way it latched on to the family.
Yep.
I was, like, a little thrown at how, like, oblivious Will was.
Oh, I know.
Everything. Like, I get he was suffering, but, like, you're not hearing, like, your kids screaming or, like, Sawyer being thrown around the house.
That was my biggest thing is when that door...
Or the doors slamming.
Going, and I was like, is no one hearing this?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't
My parents would be like, the fuck are you slamming doors in my house for?
Yeah, this is my house. You don't slam doors. I'll take them off the hinges.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up that way. You don't slam doors. So I thought that was weird. The rot that, like, started in the house, and we saw it when she went to Lester's house too.
Yep,
like,
it was
entire house was full of, like, rot, and that, like, I guess made me wonder, like, what is it? Is that just
or is that, like, what it's leeching onto? Like, and then taking your grief? That's kind of how I thought it was.
And I know I read this, and I don't know what tie-in they have, but I believe one of the directors of Stranger Things directed this movie, and I got a very Stranger Things vibe from that rot. Like,
from the rot.
And from the little girl, Sawyer, towards the end. She loses the light ball, ball at some point.
The boogeyman crunches it.
That's right. He's like, we're done with this game. Her sister finds her in the closet wrapped in Christmas lights. And it's such a Stranger Things call out, like, to season 1 with, like, the Christmas lights. And this girl is, like, wrapped up in lights. Nah. And I'm like, you are smart. Girl. I like the way we're going here. Yep. We're hiding in the closet. We're wrapped in lights. Can't get us. They end up going down to the basement.
Yep.
You know, Dad's down there. We're all aware of what's going on now. We're all like, we gotta kill this thing. We don't know how.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try. I think, you know, I mean, we talked about spoilers, but I thought it was really cool how her mom came into play at the end. You know, we see throughout the movie she finds her mom's lighter in that box of stuff, and she's asked in this candle moment, like, if you're here,
she's wearing
go
her
to
mom's
the
dress.
left. Yeah, like wearing mom's dress, like very much has this connection to her and has been asking for some sign, right? And at the end, you know, Dad is about to die. I mean, we're all looking pretty frail. And Dad holds up the lighter. And she crawls over there and they all sit by the lighter and it's like gone. Like there's no fluid left. Yeah. And she gets it to spark and the flame is much bigger than it should be. And it blows to the left. And that's like a call out that her mom was there. So then the little sister takes a bunch of like, I don't know, like paint or like... I think
like paint thinner, things like that.
And douses the boogeyman and they throw the lighter at him and you know. I loved it. Yeah. I didn't have like a bunch of leftover questions. No. It was pretty clear. Yeah. I loved the jump scenes. Yeah. I again think I found it maybe a little bit more creepy than like the average person would. Yeah. Yeah. Just because I have a little bit of trauma there. But I thought it was really good. Yeah. There was no dead air for me.
No. And I feel like the music along with it, because, you know, I just bit my tongue. There's a lot of times when it comes to horror or scary movies where they're about to do a jump scare and whatnot, either go completely silent or it's the build-up
music. Yes.
I feel like they did really well with this. Like, I mean, it was appropriate to what was happening.
And it wasn't a giveaway. No. Like, sometimes you can tell when spook scenes are coming because of the way that they're setting it up, right? They did a really good job at not really letting us know. Yeah. They didn't even really let us know that, like, because I forgot to talk about this, Lester's wife uses Sophie, whatever her name is, as Sadie. Bait.
Yeah, as bait for the boogeyman.
As bait for the boogeyman.
Because she's like, if it bleeds, it can die.
And she shoots him, and that don't work. No. You know? So, I thought it was great. I mean, everything they did, I, like, didn't really see coming, or I did see coming, and I was like, but I didn't think it was going to go that way. Yeah. Lots of spook scenes. I mean, I swear to God, just the door and the light was enough.
That's enough for me.
There was enough like door closet scenes in there for all of October. Yeah. And then Christina made me read a book with more of them.
We're going to get to that
and I'm going to be salty about it still. I thought they did a great job. I gave this like a 5 out of 5 for me.
I gave it about a 4 out of 5. I thought it was like a fun monster movie. You know, it definitely gave me spooks. It made me jump. It wasn't slow.
I think you wanted more backstory. Yeah. About the boogeyman.
I really did. But that's just me and how I like.
You like folklore.
I do.
You love folklore. Yeah. So, and I get that. Like, I would have liked to have backstory, but like, I feel like they could do like a prequel.
See, and because it made me wonder, like, okay, why did it latch onto Lester's family? Why did it kill his kids?
Yeah. It leaves questions, but not enough to like ruin the movie for you. No, like it's
that's just like me wanting that information. So yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. I will definitely watch it again. It is on my list of things that I would watch again for like a fun, spooky movie. And also, I think with obviously there's a bunch of movies out there that are pertaining to the dark and having that fear. And there's one that I thought about that what really triggered I'm afraid of the dark, you know, besides the Nickelodeon show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Love that, by the way.
That shit fucked me up.
Oh my God. But, did you ever watch Darkness Falls?
I feel like you maybe made me watch this, like, during work
It's about the Tooth Fairy. And that is what made me really go about, being in the dark and having to have the lights on. Like, that's the movie that got it for me.
I don't think I've seen this. I'm looking it up and I don't think I have.
If you think she has an issue with this, I'm going to make her watch that and then we're going to see.
It has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie. It's one of those B-rated that I love. Okay. But it's the whole, you're afraid of the dark. You have to have those lights. Like, if you are not a fan of that... Yes. It is a tooth fairy. Like, it was a totally different take.
All right, I'm into it. And well, in Folklore Tooth Fairy, she's not so great.
No,
she's not so
how
great.
This is.
Okay.
So
it's not like I leave a pillow under.
No. This is one. Oh, you come in the dark, I'm taking everything.
I'm taking all of it.
So that's what this movie kind of brought back into my memory of like, oh, I should watch Darkness Falls again, because it was in that same play of like, you need to have those lights on.
Maybe we'll watch that on Wednesday. Okay, awesome. And I add another movie to our list. Yeah. It's fine.
We already have enough.
I was like, it's not already long, but it's okay. Well,
we're keeping in theme.
That was The Boogeyman.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I would run to see it. I mean, I think it's on Hulu.
Yes, it's on Hulu now, so if you have Hulu, you can watch it there. Obviously, you can rent it wherever. But yeah, if you really like having that type of just a good, fun, spooky movie that's, you know, you'll get some jump scares. Yeah.
It's a fun one to watch. No fluff. It was great. Yeah. It was pretty good.
Yep.
So, would recommend. Awesome.
10 out of 10. Would recommend.
All right. We're going to sign off.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with No One Will Save You, which is also on Hulu. Lucky
us. I got comments on that one. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to see more from us, you can find us on Instagram at The Midnight Babes Podcast and on TikTok at The Midnight Babes. Stay spooky, friends.